Hey y'all, it's your friend D, and in today's video, we're gonna make a cozy modern living room using thrifted Barbie furniture that I shared with you in a previous video, some budget-friendly supplies, and an old doll room that I've had just sitting around. So let's just get into it. I'm gonna use this room that I made, I think a year and a half ago, and it's just kind of taking up space. I only used it maybe 2 or 3 times, and I've already stolen a lot of the decor items out of it for other rooms. So we're just gonna go ahead and remove everything else that is in here. I kind of forgot about this couch with the Christmas tree legs. I still like it. Now we're left with an empty room that has a floor space of 11 by 18 inches and the wall height of 14 inches. I did make this into a folding room originally, but you don't have to do that. You can just glue your walls and floor in place. But if you're curious about the measurements for the fold of my wall, I measured over 7 inches and scored on the back side. For the floor, I measured over 6 3/4 inches and scored on the back side. The first thing I want to do is cover the walls and the floors in scrapbook paper. I have a dark wood grain for my floors and some blue scrapbook paper for my walls. I have my scrapbook paper in place, and I just learned a valuable lesson. If you use hand lotion, give it time to soak in before you start crafting. I didn't notice these dark spots on my paper until I glued them down, and I realized they were from the oils in my hand lotion. So, lesson learned. For the look I'm going for in this room, I do want to add another wall, but because this is a folding room, that wall's going to have to be an extension. So I'm going to use some scrap foam board for that. For my extension, or I guess you can call it a removable wall, I'm going to use a piece of foam board that is 11 inches by 14 inches. To help support my wall, I have another piece of foam board that I've cut to 3 3/4 inches by 11 inches. And this is going to serve as a floor extension, and like I said, it's going to help hold up the wall. And my last two pieces of foam board are cut to 3 3/4 inch by 14 inches. And these are going to be our little side walls. I'm going to hot glue these pieces together, but before I do that, I'm going to make it easier on myself and put my scrapbook paper on. So on the side that will be facing my room, I'm going to use this scrapbook paper. On the other side, I'm not sure yet. This side will face the room. Here's what the back looks like, and I haven't figured out what I'm going to use this for. It could be a small kitchen or a closet, and I ran out of paper for the top, so I got to figure that part out, but that's for a later video. And if you guys have any ideas what I should make the space into, let me know in the comments. And here's what the room looks like if I use that light blue side of the extension wall. And when I switch it around, I'll get a nice pop of orange from the other side. And for those of you who are wondering, no, I am not blind. I see these little imperfections, like I didn't get the paper all the way down to where it meets the floor. And I do have some bubbles in my paper there. I'm not worried about that, and if it happens to you, you shouldn't worry about it either. Welcome to renovation realness. And once we start decorating, you'll never see it. Just like my husband doesn't see that hole that I made in the wall. My color palette for this room is obviously blue. This is a dark sea blue, but I also want to use an orange, and I was inspired by this orange couch that I thrifted a few weeks ago. But I also want some pink in this room. And my pink is mainly going to be in my accessories, so I'm going to use this velvet fabric from the Dollar Tree to make some pillows and curtains and maybe a rug. So I made some simple pillows. I cut out a 6 by 7 inch piece to use as a throw blanket and a 6 by 10 inch piece to use as a rug. I kept my curtains pretty simple for this room. I just cut out strips that were 3 inches by 15.5 inches because I wanted them to pull onto the floor. And because this material doesn't fray on the ends, I only sewed at the very top here so I can have an opening for my curtain rod. And this curtain rod was in the room previously. And my curtain rod will sit on this holder that I made I don't know how long ago. And I probably need to update it. This is something I made pretty quickly and it just sits over the wall. I probably need to paint those candy canes gold. I've been meaning to do that for a while, but it serves its purpose. I might come up with something better down the road. Because my walls are so tall, when I sit it on top and it straddles over the wall like this, you don't see it when I'm filming. And we also need artwork for this room. I'm going to use this card that a friend sent me. I cut the front out. I thought it was very pretty. I'm going to glue it to some cardboard. I also have this 3-pack of gallery artwork from the Dollar Tree. It was $1.50. Inside you get 3 larger size prints and they're very pretty. These on the front are perfect for the dolls. I have my artwork done, and for some of it I just used leftover pieces of scrapbook paper. And for my frames, I just painted some of these small dowel rods gold and glued them around the edges. Next, I think the dolls are going to need some place to sit their beverages while they relax on the couch. So let's make them a simple coffee table. I'm going to use a ceramic coaster that I found at the Dollar Tree as my tabletop, and these wooden cones that I also found at the Dollar Tree as the table legs. And I think both of these were $1.25 each or $1.50. I can't remember exactly. Let's paint the coaster brown. I'm trying to keep all of my brush strokes going the same direction because I want this to look like a wooden top. Now I'm going to lightly brush with a dark brown. I think our table is looking pretty good so far, and once it's completely dry, I'll go over it with a gloss Mod Podge. While we're waiting for the tabletop to dry, let's paint the cones black. Now that my pieces are dry, I can start gluing them together. I have my legs glued on, and I decided to just go with 3 legs, and I used tacky glue instead of hot glue because that gives me a stronger bond, but now I have to wait for the glue to dry. I think it's time to decorate. First, let's bring in our 2 thrift store finds. The orange couch, our home office desk, hang up our curtains, add the rug, our blanket and pillows to the couch, the coffee table, and we can't forget the artwork. All that's left to do now is to finish off the room with a couple of more pieces of Barbie furniture like this chair and ottoman and some small accessories. I'm so happy with how this room turned out. The orange furniture against the blue walls feels modern, cozy, and just a little dramatic, which honestly describes most thrift store furniture situations. And yes, Sharon is playing an electric guitar without an amp. But it's Sharon. What do you expect? So my friends, that's all I have for you today. Let me know what you think about the room, and don't forget to leave your suggestions on what I should do on the other side of the wall. And if you have any questions about anything in this video, please leave it in the comments below. I will try my best to answer your questions. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. I'll see you next time, my friends. Bye-bye.